can't believe I had sex in a windmill. Hello, welcome to this week's edition of Ma'am Podcast. It is Sarah Strickland, your beautiful host. Today, our guest is going to be my mindful movement coach. I found her on the Calm app after I quit taking pills, which you've already heard the story. Don't worry, I'm not going to go into it again. But once I stopped that, then I was still having trouble sleeping. And I felt like my body would get real restless, like my legs and stuff. So I found on the Calm app, it was like an evening wind down. And it was a stretch routine with Christi-an, today's guest. And it helped me sleep. But then I also noticed that like I was getting in better shape. And then I would kind of like add to it and kind of adapt or mold whatever she was doing to more of like a workout. And that just opened the door for me for working out. My whole life I was told, work out, you need to be in shape. Doctors would be like, you know what helps depression? Working out. And I'm like, and also pills, I thought at the time. And I was never an active kid. Like I did cheerleading, like pom-poms, but it wasn't anything special. And then I was in 9th grade track. I think it was just to hang out with people. Honestly, that's all I remember doing is like shooting the shit with people at the shot put. And then they put me on like the 400 meter, like you did 2 laps each. I'm like, have you seen these little legs? Like I'm all torso. I don't know what made me think I could join track. And that was something that my mom made sure that I knew because I had to buy these new shoes. And their favorite story to tell about me is when I was in 10th grade track and I started running and I got about 100 whatever yards and just ran right into the the changing room, the locker room. I had a side stitch. And they never let me live it down. To this day, if I talk to them, would still hear about the side stitch and how Sarah ran off the track and how funny it was. The only bonus for that was I got to drop track and then be my favorite teacher's student aide, which just included me shooting the shit with the yearbook aide in a little back room that we had. It was nothing ever happened. I wish, but nothing ever happened. And I had a boyfriend. How dare you assume that of me? I would never cheat on Dana. But yeah, so working out just wasn't for me. I went through like this weird 3-month period where I'd put on a bunch of weight from one of those antipsychotics that they put me on. And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to work out. And I joined Planet Fitness, which apparently people call Planet Fatness because they have Pizza Wednesday and shit. But I mean, everybody seemed fine to me. And I would get on that elliptical and I liked it. I remember they always had The Bachelor playing because I like to go at night. I liked to go at night. I like to work out at night. That has since evolved and changed. But I would go to Planet Fatness, for lack of a better term, and I get on my elliptical, and that's when they were always playing The Bachelorette. And it was that Hannah chick. And all I remember is that they kept showing this preview where she'd be like, I can't believe I had sex in a windmill. And like, she had sex with that Peter guy in a windmill, which I don't know. Is that different than any other thing? Like, I don't know what qualifies like windmill sex as like noteworthy. But hey, you go, girl. If that's what you like, you do you. You have that windmill sex. She didn't even end up with that guy, but he did end up on Traitors, which I have to tell you guys, we get these obsessions with TV shows and right now it is for Traitors. And we watched all of the English version ones. And right now we're watching Australia. And the second season of Australia has the dumbest faithfuls ever. You guys are the worst. Sorry, Australia. Second season. Really bad. But other than that, like And they're all different. Sorry, guys. Now you're going to hear about traders. The American one has like Alan Cumming, and it's like, oh, reality stars and a bunch of Bravo people. I don't fucking know. So I guess Bravo's owned by Peacock, because let me tell you, they're fucking sharing people. And then they have Britain, which is a little bit more like normal. They have some normies. They have one or two like people. But then, like I said, Australia is a little different. And we liked it, but this season, my God, guys, like, I'm not going to, no spoilers, but it's just like, your job is to find the traitors, and they are not finding the traitors. We are watching the finale today. So let's hope that somebody wins that we like, because right now it is just freaking not good. Hi.
I'm so sorry I'm late. I was like, couldn't find the link. And then I was like, oh, it's probably on Facebook.
And I'm sorry. We're moms. I should have realized that. Like,
yeah, no, it's okay. I was just like checking all my emails. I'm like, am I spelling her name right? You know? Yeah.
Well, you're here. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
I was just telling my friends, my listeners, that I found you on the Calm app, and that you did what no one else could do. You got me into fitness. And if you knew me before, you would understand like what an honor that should be that you got me like on this body journey, you know, and and I'll ask your opinion. I think that if you're not in a good mental space, it doesn't matter how much work you're doing on your body. They really have to work in tandem, where you're really taking care of your mind and doing that stuff. And then like you always tell me, like, be kind to your body and listen to your body and stuff. And it really is kind of tied together.
Yeah, I really believe that. Sometimes we can even do more harm, like through exercise and stuff, if we're not being in our body, if we're not listening to our body. So yeah, it's so important. And it's so great that you have found a way to be in your body, to befriend your body and connect with it. And you don't have to do the hardest workout ever to make a real difference, right?
No, and remember, that was like the 90s. Like, you got on the Stairmaster,
Yeah.
or like cardio. And like, I love that we've gotten away from that and into like strength and lifting weights and yoga and stuff like that.
Yeah, because it's also nervous system care, right? So if your nervous system's out of whack, you can eat all the right things, you can do all the right exercise, and you still won't necessarily like feel all the goodness that you want from those things. So we really have to pay attention to what we need.
All right. So I found you on the Calm app. Do you want to share with me how you ended up on there and changed my life? I'm very interested in this journey.
That's a good question. And my life has been a very windy road. I've had many jobs. I went to school to become a computer programmer and did computer science. And I hated it. Yeah.
That doesn't sound like you at all. Yeah. I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah. It was like very early days of like doing what you think you should do, you know?
Yeah.
And it was very early days, like in that at the time, people didn't even have laptops. So I was literally stuck in a computer lab and felt like I had to really like disconnect from my body to be successful at that work. And, you know, spending all-nighters in computer labs, like, you know, eating pizza and like, just like, not that those things are bad, but it didn't feel good in my body. And it was really sad. And so then I quit that and decided to become a server. And I worked as a server for a long time. And I really loved that because the work is very present. You know, you're just like with people, you're doing your thing. You can like leave the work when you leave the work. Then I became a school teacher and thought I would love that, but didn't really love it because I felt stressed out about it all the time. Like I really wanted to make a difference. And so then I quit that and did a yoga teacher training and became a yoga teacher. Then I opened up a yoga studio, did that with the wrong person and ended horribly, although it was like one of the most beautiful things I've created and ever done in my life. And then couldn't get a job to like save my life after I lost my yoga studio, but then found the founders of Calm and so grateful because they could see something in me that a lot of other people couldn't. So I got to join Calm when there was only 13 people working at Calm, and no one knew what it was, and it's grown a lot since then. And I'm so inspired and amazed by the people who have worked so hard to make it what it is today.
Wow, that is so neat and interesting that you really got in on the ground floor.
Mm-hmm. Sort of accidentally too. And Tamara Levitt, who's one of the voices of Calm, who's like the lead meditation teacher there, lives in Toronto where I used to live. And so we knew each other through the meditation and yoga community. So she's like, hey, there's this job. They want to like hire you to do social media and write blogs. And at first I was like, well, are they going to pay me? Because I'm not interested if they're not going to pay me. And she's like, no, they'll pay you. And so I was like, okay, like, let's see what this is. And so it was so cool because it was not at all what I expected. And also it was neat because it actually did bring me back to my tech roots and my computer science roots and doing a different job, but it felt just neat to be part of it all.
Well, and I think that's what I always talk about with my husband, because he's an author, but he also does like the marketing and stuff. And he has like a business brain, but then that creative side. And if he only feeds one, then he gets really down. So I'm like, this is the perfect career for you. And this feels like mine, talking to people and this and that. So I feel like you really found it with that, where you could have that technical side of your brain and then also the mindfulness.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's so much about just learning who we are, accepting who we are, and then like finding careers that can really honor that. And I mean, that's a privileged thing to get to do, but if you can do it, like, please do it, because it's going to make everything in your life better. And then we can give more to the world around us that way too, right?
Well, and then you're kind of at a higher vibration when you're doing that, it feels like, and if all of us could be on a higher vibration, we could heal the world. If everybody realized that they're the key, is all of us just becoming one and just doing a little bit better.
Yeah, totally. We just, it's really hard. We live in a world that really exploits a lot of people, so we don't feel very good, right? So if we can shift that by starting with ourselves, by like choosing not to exploit ourselves, and then starting to choose that we don't actually want to build a world that's built on exploitation.
Well, and you're doing it, and you're also a mom. How do you balance both?
Yeah. So I'm no longer at Calm anymore. So I'm not working in tech now. I'm full-time psychotherapist and yoga teacher. Yeah. Which is nice. That really works with my brain and body. I have ADHD too. So my mind is like really fast. It works well in like creative marketing and stuff like that. But it also like, I burn out a lot in it too. And kind of like yourself, I like to just like be with people. And so therapy in a way is really hanging out with people and like some of the tougher parts of their life, but it feels like such a privilege and honor, and it's really contained. So like we work well in the hour that we have, and then I move to the next client. And so I'm able to see clients while my kiddo's at daycare. And then when my kiddo's home, I don't work, and I just really try my best to be present with our family life and do all the things that it takes to take care of humans, which is a lot, right? Including ourselves.
It's definitely a full-time job to be a mom, and they don't. And also that guilt you feel when you drop them off at daycare every time. I remember I just felt like the worst mom, or they'd have these moments with him that I didn't have. And I'm like, I missed it, but
I know. Yeah. It's so hard. We can only do so many things. And so I think, what we can do is when we are with our kids, if we can be super present and loving with them, like that's what we can do. And that's so meaningful, and it makes a big difference. And then they get to be at daycare and they get to learn different things and interact with people. And if some of those things are hard, how can we show up for them and like not just like dismiss that it's hard, but sit with them in the hardness and like teach them how to feel their emotions, right?
Well, and also let them sit with disappointment and that stuff, and really having someone there to hold you up while you have that, I feel is amazing. And that's, something maybe our generation didn't have so much. And I feel like as parents now, we're really thinking about our children's experiences as their whole life and what impact we're having on them.
Yeah, I feel so lucky to be that generation that we have so much more resources and tools. Like we got to go to therapy. We got to think about these things, right? And
yes.
And yeah, do things a little differently.
Well, and for me, it was breaking the generational trauma, and if nothing else, that feels really good, and also understanding it, because I also feel like sometimes people break it, but they don't understand the trauma. They're just like, well, my parents were bad, but they're not getting down to the root cause of what happened to their parents to make them be that way.
It takes a lot of work, a lot of compassion to get there. It's like not easy, right? So it's really cool that you did that. I listened to your first couple episodes too, and it's really cool.
You're so sweet.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Just hear that the journey that you've been on, your personal journey, and you've been through a lot of challenges. It's wild, and you're here, and you're showing up,
trying to make the world a better place, one person at a time. That's, if I can leave everyone a little bit better than when I found them, I feel like my duty on earth was done, because I don't think we're here to destroy. We're here to create and lift up everyone.
Yeah, for sure. And like, if we can, we have to work small, right? Because that's the capacity that we have. But if everyone does that, it does add up, right?
Well, and I think that sentiment right now in America is huge. With everything that we're going through, it's easy to catastrophize things. But if we know that, like, we can help our community, like I can help my son's school, I can help my neighborhood, I can, those things that you can influence, if everybody does a little bit in their zone, it really will help everything.
Yeah, definitely. And in like kind of scary times, like we need each other, and it is the collective care that is going to take care of us more than any one leader can, right?
Well, that's it. And what are they out for? We all need to be kind of looking out for each other right now, and not being so divided.
Yeah. It's definitely lots of painful times right now, right? And so how can we come back together, right? And like see that we're more similar than we are different.
Because it feels like we've been so far away from that for so long now. And it's just, and it's tough too when I think like about the newer generations and how this is their normal. This is what they always had. At least we have those memories of when times felt better, times felt different, when you could meet someone at the gate at the airport, things like that we didn't go to school every day worrying about a school shooting. Like it was just different.
Yeah.
And I wish that was a world we could give our children.
Yeah, me too. So much. So like, that's such a hard part about being a mom, right? It's like,
well, especially when you hear people saying like, I'm not having children, I don't want to bring kids into this world. I'm like, I brought kids into this world. It's too late.
Yeah.
They're here.
Yeah. But that's where a lot of hope comes from, right? It's because these like moms are the ones that are like often do change the world, right? Because we care so much about our kiddos.
Well, I read something and it was so really profound to me. It said, it might not be what you do, it might be who you raise.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so amazing, because it's the truth.
Yeah. And doesn't that just value parents' work so much better too, right? Because it is hard work.
Yeah. It is. And you're molding the next generation.
Yeah.
And I don't think people give stay-at-home moms enough credit, because for what they're doing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And like those people who don't give the credit would like never like spend a day in their shoes either, would they?
No, they couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
That's a full-time job that you never get a break from. You never get a vacation from.
Yeah.
And it's thankless. You're not getting bonuses. You're not getting...
Yeah, mostly just critique, right?
Yes, exactly. So let's be a little kinder to our stay-at-home moms, guys. All right? Everybody has their own struggles.
Yeah, for sure. And all the parents who are like coming home from a stressful day and then trying to, be regulated for their kids and like show up and be present. It's hard work.
Well, and with that, I think that now I try to focus on what will their memories be. So I want them, they might have days where I don't pay attention to them or I accidentally scrolled on my phone, but do they have these memories where mom read with me, or mom went on the carnival ride with me? And that's really how I try to frame things. What do I want their memory to be?
Yeah.
Do I want it to be mom wasn't there, mom said no? Or do I want them to be like, well, she tried her best and, she's here.
Yeah, for sure. And we have a lot of space for our parents, right? Like the parents have to be like really unwilling to grow for kids to actually turn away from them, right? Like we're always wanting that a little bit, like to be in connection with our parents and to feel their care and love. So yeah, it's like you scroll on your phone one day, it's like it's not a deal breaker, right? It's just like an opportunity to do it different the next day.
Well, that's it. And it's funny that you say that it does. I'm no contact with my parents. I've been no contact since 2022. And it is hard because you love them. And I'm even at a place of forgiveness. I really am. But like you said, when you don't see growth, like literally the other day, she left like this, she started a fake Instagram and then left like a mean comment on one of my videos. Like, how dare you talk about being a mom when you and your husband don't respect your mother and father? You have too big of egos or something. And it was heartbreaking for the fact that I'm like, you haven't learned anything. You haven't been around your grandsons in 2 years. And all that you're focused on is what you think instead of trying to repair it. Because I tell you, if they called and said, even like, we messed up, we didn't know how to be parents and clearly we didn't do the best, but maybe we can figure this out, I would absolutely forgive them in a heartbeat.
Yeah, totally. It's just they're not willing to hear their impact on you, right? And it's like really important to feel seen and heard by the people who raised us.
Well, and also my therapist, so I would totally use you if I didn't like have her. Like, sorry, we've been through the shit together, me and
no,
Voss
I'm glad
here.
You have someone. That's so great.
Yes. Yeah. She helped so much, but she said, you didn't get the parents that you wanted. Be the parent to yourself that you never had.
Yeah. That's huge. We're a whole generation of kids reparenting themselves, right?
Well, and that's as silly as even like, if you want to build Legos, let that child out.
Yeah, I love that.
And also that comes too, I feel like, with protecting that child,
Mm-hmm.
Where it's, I as an adult may want to try to talk to them again, but what will that do to 6-year-old Sarah that is still with me all the time and feels hurt and abandoned? Like I can't do that to her.
Yeah, you can have compassion and boundaries, right? And like, so I hear your care for your parents, and at the same time, if they're not willing to kind of meet you in a safe way, then that's not okay. I'm so sorry that was still Sarah. It sucks.
No, it's just funny because also I feel like when you have parents like this, and now I'm talking to people, we just didn't realize growing up, we didn't talk about it, and everybody just went out and we pretended like our home life didn't exist. And I never thought they were too bad. But then once you kind of start to peel, it's like an onion. You peel away the layers and you see and it makes you cry. It makes you cry.
Yeah. And you don't know any different. Like that was your normal growing up too, right?
That's it. But I feel like found family is so important and that people don't put a high enough value on that and the energy you surround yourself with.
Yeah, for sure. I am so grateful. I'm grateful to have parents who have been willing to grow and really meet me along the way. So I'm very blessed in that way. But I also, as a queer person, growing up in a world that doesn't really love queer people, having chosen queer family has been a lifesaver and helped me see my own beauty and goodness and gifts too.
Well, and that you were perfect just the way you were born.
Yeah.
You don't need to change to fit anything because you are everything you're supposed to be already.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. But it's hard to know that growing up, right? Yeah.
Well, and that's so funny that you say that. I had a friend and he started listening to podcasts and he goes, you had a queer on? And I was like, and the way he said it, I was like, who still talks like this? It's astounding how small-minded people are. And something that has no bearing on their life whatsoever is so important to them for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and this is the way that fear works, right? For some reason, there's some part of that person that's a little bit afraid. If people are allowed to fully be themselves, what might happen?
Well, I think that they know that they can't hack it and that's all they have. I think that's what racism is about. That's all of it, is trying to protect something that you don't understand. When you realize that if we just let everybody be the best versions of themselves, there's room for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much space, right? Yeah.
And I feel like the corporations are convincing us that there's not, and that there's something bigger at play and that we kind of just need to clear out the noise and get to the root of why we're here. And that's why what you do is so amazing with the mindful movement, really connecting mind and body and changing and growing, is you're healing the world.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just so important to be able to be in our bodies. And the world tells us not to be in our bodies for so many reasons, right? And so we're always overriding what our body says, we're ignoring it. And then, that becomes so painful after a certain amount of time that we have to like burn out or numb out or whatever. So yeah, I love it. It saved my life. And I'm so grateful to share those tools with other
Well, and that's what I've noticed. Sorry. People that when you've been through something like that, either you're the type of person that it breaks you and you're bitter and you're angry, or you come through it and you're like, I don't want anyone else having to feel like that if they don't have to.
Yeah.
And if my journey can help them, then it's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. There's way too much of like, I went through this, so you got to go through this. I got dragged through the mud, so you should get dragged through the mud. Right? Yeah.
Yes. And no, I mean, I'm sorry if you got dragged through the mud, but us getting dragged through is not going to change that you did.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not going to help you feel much better. Right. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. 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 No, it's like, it's not a fun philosophy.
No. And everything is so focused on, like you said, the external.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Even, if you think about religion, is everybody outside? What are you watching outside? Don't look inside. Don't look inside.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's not enough information. Like I always think about, in order to like make a real decision that really honors who I am, I have to like ask my mind what it's thinking, my heart what it's thinking, and my body what's it thinking. And if like I can get to consensus with all three, like that's probably a pretty good decision. But what I noticed for a long time in my life was my mind and my heart would be fully on board of something, and my body would be like, no, that's like too much, or like I can't handle it. And we would just be like, no way, like you should be able to handle this, like buck up, And I did that for so long, and I was always like anxious and exhausted.
Anxiety is awful. Mm-hmm. Like just living with that and thinking about the cortisol levels and kind of what you're doing to yourself. And once you don't have stress anymore, you're like, oh my gosh, how did I do that? How did I exist like that every day?
Yeah. And the way the nervous system works is if we're like living at a very high level of stress for long periods of time, it's like not possible, right? Because it's way too much. So what it does is it kicks us into like depression or dissociation or numbing to recover just enough to give yourself enough anxiety to like pop back up and like live your life. And so we're pulsing between like anxiety and forms of depression. And, a lot of people are just like pulsing in there and not like living in a place where they actually feel kind of calm and present and good in their nervous system. So that's what I love doing in my job, is like helping people figure out like, where is a place that you can live where you can be connected to yourself, you can be connected to other people, and you feel safe and okay. And the thing is, and I think what we're talking about too with like people around all of the isms is like, they're in that activated nervous system state a lot of the time, right? So we do feel more like we get that fight, flight, freeze place, like we don't feel safe in the world. And so we start blaming other people for that.
And also, people cannot take accountability. I don't know what that is. I'll admit I'm wrong all the time. I'm wrong a lot of the time. And it's there's nothing wrong with being wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, of course we're going to be wrong, usually more than we're right. And it's like, again, like if we brought that back to your parents, if they could just be open to listening to the ways that like they weren't right, in raising their kiddo, that they could, you have more possibility for connection with each other. And it's like just learning how to tolerate stuff like embarrassment and stuff like that, Once I learned that like it was okay to be embarrassed that I made a mistake, like it changed my life. Because then I was like, oh, now I can move on instead of like ruminating about the mistake I made for 30 days or whatever.
Well, I used to always joke, like, I'm the hardest on myself. I'm so hard. Who has ever won a medal for being so hard on themselves?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know why this was a point of pride. No one's ever like, she is so mean to herself. Oof, I wish I was that mean to myself.
Yeah.
It's not good. And forgiving yourself really helps everything. And it also helps you kind of, I feel like, have more gratitude for everything.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, that like hard on ourselves is like a form of protection that we had to use like when we were little to get to the place that we got to. And now we have to soften it because it's like such a horrible thing to live with a bully inside you, right? Yeah.
That you can never get away from.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. Which is also just sad that bullying still exists. Like, I just wish we could be in a different place where our kids could go to school and not get bullied, and we could go to work and not get bullied, or all of the things.
Just live and let live. Like, that is what I don't understand. It's not my job to police how you live or anybody else lives. I was not put here for that. I was put here to find my purpose and to complete it. But I also feel like those people, they're the ones that really don't want to look interior. That's why they go it's so bad in there, or so barren that they just can't.
Yeah. Yeah. I think really just.
And they bully.
Yeah. It's so painful, right? On the inside. It's hard. It's hard. And, we're not raised with the tools to actually do that work. And that's the sad thing. Like, I wish we could really reconsider what curriculum looks like, and, how we teach kids to build resilience. And it's not just about being the best and getting straight A's.
Well, and that's what my son goes to, an alternative school. And I really appreciate that. They have something called Boy Zone, because all these poor little kids, they're all kind of spectrumy, they're super smart, but they have some things, and it teaches them those things, like how to be a team, how to, like, they're giving them those skills. And I just thought that was so amazing.
Yeah, I love that. That should be like the rule instead of the exception, right?
And every kid is different. And that's what's so tough too, is they try to really fit them all in this square box with school. And every kid is different and has different needs.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I told you I used to be a teacher, and that was like one of the things that was so hard. You're like looking at 32 kids, and you only have so much time, and there's so much expectation about what you're teaching them. And it's kind of like, I felt like, oh, I'm teaching to 25% of the kids, and like, what is happening to those other 75%? And if you try to do more, you're also just one person as a teacher. And so I was just burning myself out trying to teach to 100% of the kids, when really what we need is like smaller classrooms, or, a little bit more spaciousness around what we're teaching kids, and letting them lead their learning too. Because it's so cool to watch. My 3-year-old right now is like obsessed with sports, and he knows like the difference between like a volley and a bump and a spike in volleyball, and like across the board with all sports. He's 3 years old. Like, he shouldn't know that information, but he does, because he's curious and he wants to know it, right? And like, I know you talk to every other parent, and like, some kids know every single dinosaur name, and how to pronounce them. And it's so cool, right? So if we just had more space to be able to let kids lead in their learning, imagine how much more confident they would be too.
Well, and kids, they have to do, I don't know. My 2 boys had to do everything on their own time frame. Everything, like potty training, everything had to be on their own time. So it is really difficult to be like, okay, well, now go to school with all these different kids and all learn the same way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that. Like, as a parent, it's even helping me be more compassionate too. Like, with kids, like, transitions are so important, for example, right? And now I'm like, oh, they're actually still important for me too. Like, I might not have a meltdown because I know how to act in society, but like inside I might be having a meltdown. Yeah. And so why don't we care for ourselves more? Like, I feel like becoming a parent is like also helping me take better care of myself.
Well, because you want to be the best version of yourself for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you gave your kids space to do their things on their own time, because there is so much pressure to like, as soon as one other parent says like, oh, my kid's potty trained, you're like, oh, my kid is not there, and we start to question ourselves. And yeah, it sucks, because then there's like so many Instagram ads telling you like that you should have already your kid potty trained. And like, this is for every single possible thing you could do with the kid,
that's
right?
it.
Yeah.
Walking. And then potty training too, when they're a year old. I'm like, my God, you got a potty trained at a year? I mean, that's insane.
Yeah. And there are just the kids who are like, I want to do this, and they do it overnight, and like you don't even have to try. Right. And yeah. So it's like, we can't compare our kid to that kid.
Well, even our own kids, like, we have Walker, my 15-year-old, the easiest kid you've had, like, slept through the night at 2 months, could have any diaper, any formula. This kid was just easy.
Yeah.
And then our second was he didn't sleep through the night for like a year and a half. He had health problems. So even parenting is not one size fits all. I need to be a different parent for Walker than I have to be for Beckett.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Yeah. It's like, really, you can see that just like with 2 people, which makes me like, it's so funny that there's so many people selling things online that are like, this program will work for every single kid.
And it's not possible. It can't. Kids learn different ways. Some, and also I feel like I really try to give them autonomy, and also like we're a part of this team and tell them what they need to know and let them be in on decisions because we're a family.
Yeah. Yeah. Unless it's like a real, true safety concern, let's let them lead a little bit.
Well, and because I felt like my parents kept so many things from me, so I probably overshare with them, honestly. And I also try to tell them that, and I explained to Walker, I'm like, I'm sorry I send you 5 reels a day about how special you are, but but I wish my mom would have done that for me, so even that, trying to give him that context of how I was raised, so I do things the way I do now.
Yeah, yeah. And I think like just the most important thing is that you're open, and if he was like, actually, like, Mom, it's not okay that you're sending me 5 reels. You'd be like, okay, and you could have your own feelings about it. You could be like, but I love doing that. But at the same time, it's okay to just, shift, right?
Well, and especially, just wait till you get to the teenage years.
Oh, yeah, I'll call you for sure.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so also, whatever your name is, Walker's friend that's been listening, please don't listen to my podcast. That's really weird. I'm a mom. You shouldn't listen. I don't remember what your name is, so I won't embarrass you, but please don't listen, and certainly don't embarrass Walker.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever your name is.
Yeah. Boundaries, kiddo.
I was like, what sophomore in high school wants to listen to me talk about being a mom and stuff?
Right.
Like,
yeah. It's like,
I don't need you bullying him.
Yeah. Oh, it's wild, eh? Like how kids will just find a way, eh? Like you can get bullied for like the color of shirt you wear, It's like, it's impossible to do it, to like transcend it in some way, right?
Well, and foreheads are apparently a big deal for them now. Like they're all concerned about the size of their forehead.
Oh, I got really bullied about my forehead when I was in high school. It was awful. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Is something that you were born with that looks normal to me, by the way. There's nothing abnormal about your forehead whatsoever.
Well, I'm in my disheveled mom phase right now, but like before I would like do like a swoop with my like hair so that I could like cut up, you know what I mean? I worked so hard to like minimize it because those things stick with you, right?
They do, and it's so because you're beautiful. You have a beautiful forehead. There is nothing critiquable about that. It's a person forehead.
Yeah, and it's okay. Some of us have bigger foreheads and some of us have smaller foreheads.
Yes.
All the
some of us are
foreheads.
tall.
Yeah.
Short, yes. Yeah. Fat, thin.
Yeah.
Like,
it's all good. All bodies are beautiful.
That's it. And especially your own. And I feel like feeling strong in it is so much more important than being thin, because I definitely used to be I need to be really thin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But once you build muscle and you feel strong, there's no going back.
Yeah.
I feel like then you're like, no, I want to feel strong. I can lift this weight. I can do this.
Yeah. And such a good thing for like a lot of, aging bodies to keep that strength on. I think that's like one of the most important things for our aging and long-term health.
But no, you're right on the money. I read articles all the time and it says keeping that muscle mass up and lifting as long as you can. That's what keeps people alive. That and having social interaction. Yeah. But it's so important. And it doesn't, I think people also think I need to join a gym and I need to do this. And it can just walk. I walk my neighborhood every morning.
Yeah.
It's the favorite time of my day. I just put on my music. I walk, I look at I get some sun. I look at the beautiful scenery. I appreciate that I'm alive and in this place and I'm privileged. And there's so much even gratitude just on that walk alone that it just sets me up for the rest of the day. Yeah,
I agree. I love walking. I also found at my yoga studio, they're doing like a weight training class. So it's really fun. I do it at a yoga studio. So it has just a different vibe and it's cool. There's like people like 20 to 80 in this like class.
Wow.
Yeah. And everyone's like lifting quite heavy if they stay with it. Like, it's pretty cool to watch people build muscle.
That's so neat, because then it also transforms how their whole body is. And like you said, that makes them want to put better food into it, treat it better, get enough sleep so that you have the energy to work out the next day.
Yeah, for sure. When I was young, I didn't sleep enough. And my body was so tense all the time because I was just like running on nothing basically. And it's so wild to now feel not that tension in my body. But I think I like had that tension for 15, 20 years.
You almost look back and feel so sorry for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so sorry you had to live like that.
Yeah.
I wish I could fix it for you, you
Yeah.
know? And
it was so normalized.
It was so normalized. And there's also having compassion for that version of yourself that they thought that's how they had to exist. They didn't know any better. And that had to be really hard.
Yeah. And that's such like an important thing to remember when we like meet people in that state too. No matter what they are. Like, doesn't mean you have to be best friends with them and hang out with them, but just, you know, I always remind myself like, oh yeah, like I felt like the only way to be okay in the world was like doing intense exercise all the time, you know? And that's like not true. It's just like a balance, right?
Well, that's it. Or you'll hear, like now I hear people on pharmaceuticals and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
Once you get off that hamster wheel, there's no going back on that one either.
Yeah.
And taking supplement, because ashwagandha for anxiety, they had me on Valium, never helped my anxiety. Ashwagandha fixed it.
Right.
No problems.
Right. Yeah. It's such a complicated world with like pharmaceuticals, eh? Like some of them are so important and life-saving, and then some of them I just watched Dope Sick that on Disney. Have you seen that?
Yes. About the opioids, right?
Yeah, it was like, I mean, I kind of had heard about it all, but to like see it through like these real stories of real people, like it's devastating. And it's so wild, the evilness of people to be like, it's okay to make money off like the suffering of other people.
And the death. And I mean, that there's a huge crisis with that. And it's funny because I watch American Greed and they'll have like these pain clinics where they're just writing prescriptions in 10 minutes. And they're like legal drug dealers. And I was like, if you go to a psychiatrist in the United States, it is a 15-minute appointment that they write you a prescription. It is no different.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Psychiatrists in America are legal drug dealers. They're keeping us doped up.
Wow.
Mine would say, what do you need? Here you go.
Yeah. Yeah. So scary. I'm so sorry.
I'm grateful I went through it because I feel like now I know in my life and where I'm at, I'll never feel that bad again.
Right. Yeah.
And also I got through that. So that kind of also boldens you that, I can get through anything. If I got through that, I can get through.
Yeah. And you
anything.
have like developed different tools to support yourself and care for yourself.
Oh, and just the way I talk to myself is different, and through therapy. And like I said, working out and meditation has been.
Yeah.
Anybody that doesn't meditate, I'm like, why? It fixes so many things.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you do either. I'm not going to try to like sell TM, like whatever kind of meditation works for you.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. And that's why there are so many too, right?
Because everybody's different. Nothing is one size fits all. But
yeah, before I worked for Calm, I was a little bit jaded because I spent a lot of time meditating in like groups with people and like meditating for 30 minutes and then having like a Dharma talk after. And I was like, what's 10 minutes on an app going to do? And like, what's, we're just already addicted to our phones and everything. But I was totally wrong. It was like incredible because I worked with the community of people that use the Calm app. And like, it really like, if it's accessible to you and you can do it and you can do something in 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, it really can change your life.
Well, and that's where it starts, because then I feel like it becomes a practice.
Yeah.
And then it's a lifestyle. That's how you make lifestyle changes. You don't go in and say, I'm going to meditate for an hour every day. Nobody can do that.
Yeah.
Life will get in the way. But if you're like 10 minutes every day, or this is important to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the way that we use our mind is so important, right? Because so many of us are suffering just because we don't know that we can actually not keep thinking about the thing we're thinking about and choose something different to place your mind on, right? And so meditation teaches us how to do that. It's huge. And like also to remember that we are, householders, like we're living lives, we're working jobs, we're taking care of kids. So you're not meant to meditate for hours a day. Like that's the monk's life, which is great.
Yeah.
And we don't need that. We just need like a commitment to like returning to a calmer, more focused state, whether that's in an actual meditation or if that's like while your kid's melting down and you're feeling yourself pulled away, and you can come back and be like, actually, I'm going to be the steady person here.
Well, exactly. And it's so funny because then it's also like a new tool in your toolbox. Like now if I get stressed out, I'm like, okay, I can go meditate. And it's kind of like, I know I'll have this reset, or I meditate on a plane and now I'm able to fly. Or, I was upset about the election, and that night I'm like, all right, I need to meditate. So it's just this great healthy resource that isn't let me pick up a drink, let me pick up a pill, let me go gamble, these horrible vices that we use when we're in these situations.
Yeah, totally. And like some of those things are totally okay when we're doing it to actually feel the pleasure of doing it versus like to numb something or to get rid of something. I am really... Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. No, go.
Well, I'm just curious about like what you were saying about how doing the calm act stuff with me like changed the way you exercise, or like tell me more about that. Like I want to hear what happened for you.
So I took Ambien for 10 years, got off that. So I had trouble sleeping, and I kept feeling like my legs would like want to move. And so I saw that you had a nighttime calm down routine. So I just started doing that every night, and then we're at the pool and my husband goes, you kind of have abs. And I was like, I kind of do. And so then I just started looking up workout, like moves that I could add to that and putting weights on. And it lit a spark. It like you struck the match, and it was just off to the races.
Wow.
And it was just something that simple. And also I have to say, you look and sound just like my therapist, and I love her. So I'm like, it's like, I need your soothingness. Like, yes, let's calm down tonight. Let's do this.
Yeah, cool. I love that. Like that, just starting that small made a big shift. And I think that's so important for people to remember. It's like, you don't have to start big.
And honestly, you shouldn't, unless it's life or death. I mean, if you're diabetic and they're like, you have to stop sugar, but that's not sustainable. Like that's like these people with Ozempic. I'm like, you're not learning lifestyle changes. You're just getting a shot and losing weight. That's not sustainable. How are you going to keep up with that?
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing your story. That's really cool.
Well, thank you. Like you probably think I'm just blowing smoke up your ass, but like it really, you inspired me so much, and you put me on this course that now also motivates my husband. He sees me doing it and he's like, well, I don't want to be left behind. So he's doing it, and it's helped us live it makes me want to live a more active lifestyle.
Right.
I'm like, let's go hiking. Let's go rock climbing. Let's not sit on the couch and watch a movie. Once you get your body moving and you feel so good.
Yeah, totally. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
Yes. Yeah. And it just opened so many doors. Like we're going to Turkey and Greece this summer. So I'm very excited to walk around there and be healthy.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you. Those are beautiful places.
Oh, so I have one more question.
Okay.
Have you ever done a floating sound bath? Did I already ask you this?
You did. I've done a sound bath, but never a floating one.
Okay. So my first one, I took my best friend, Megan, who's like this introvert, like this teacher. And I'm like, we're going to do this because I'm like into crystals and I'm the woo-woo one, And so she's like, all right. So we're like, and it's so cute because I kept forgetting stuff. And she's like, don't forget our towels. I'm like, this is why I have you. But it's in like a public pool. And I was like, how relaxing is this going to be? And then I'm also, they push you out. And I felt so bad. But there was this very large woman that I'm going to be honest. When I saw her, I was like, is she going to be on the board okay? And I just saw her like just barrel roll right into the water. And I was like, trying not to laugh. And Megan, sweet soul, she's like, Sarah, don't laugh. Don't laugh. So I texted my husband. I'm like, oh my God, this chick just fell in the pool. And then later Megan needed my phone for something. She's like, I can't believe you told Drew. I'm like, how do you know someone fell? So I've been to like 5 sound baths now, and someone falls in the pool every time, and it's the highlight. But meditating with the sound bath, it really takes it to another level, I feel like. Do you feel the same? Like it elevates it extensively?
I could imagine. Like sometimes I do like certain breathing exercises. I do them in the bath a lot. And I find it's like really helpful the way that you hear sound differently. I don't know the science behind it, but I believe like it's very helpful. And I think when we're getting into our bodies, the more senses that we're activating is really helpful. So you're activating your sense of sound, you're activating your sense of touch and feel, right? So I can imagine that's why it's so helpful and just really grounding you and getting you more and more into the moment.
I'm addicted to them. Everyone, I'm like, do you want to go to a floating sound bath? I'll set it up for us. I'll pay for you. Drew's like, quit paying for people's sound baths. We are not made of money. I'm like, but it's so good. And then I feel bad too, because I meditate, I'm in this lifestyle much as you are.
Yeah.
So mine is like times 10. And then I'll ask people and they're like, well, yeah, I was kind of fidgety. I was this and that. And then I almost get mad. I'm like, this is spiritual. How do you not understand this?
Right.
You need to relax and open yourself up to it.
Yeah. 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 No, I mean, again, it's like you could listen to, I remember when I was young and I was in my like teenage years, I would like listen to like Beastie Boys, like super loud to help me calm down too. Right. So it's like different things will get you to different places at different times, and I think that's like maybe a bit of a tell of our age is it's like nice to just go into this like relaxing pool. Right.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Or listening to Beastie Boys. That also is very our age.
Yeah, exactly. Another tell. Yeah.
That's it. We have all these rage songs too. Like after my friend Glenn was like, I've been listening to a lot of Limp Bizkit lately. I'm like, it's rough right now. I know, it's okay.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Anything that helps us feel our feelings too, right? That's why I like sad songs sometimes too, right? They just like help move the tears.
Well, sometimes you need that. It like ignites it.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I love sound baths. I definitely have to try to get to a floating one. I don't know if they have them here. I have to Google that.
Well, then maybe you just need to make it down to Arizona sometime.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, right now it's like minus 18 degrees, which I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's not fun. I'm sure it's nicer where you are.
I was talking to people in Chicago and Houston, and it's like crazy snowing there. And I was like, it was a brisk 38 degrees on my walk this morning. I had to put on some fleece.
Right.
They're like, shut up.
Yeah, no, we're definitely wearing like layers upon layers. Yeah.
But in the summer, you'll be laughing at us because it'll probably be 140 degrees and we're all just going to start frying to death. Like that's where global warming is going in Arizona. So I just have to kind of come to peace with I might just die of heat stroke.
Yeah, that's no good. I don't want that for you.
Well, I don't want you to freeze to death either. That's not.
Yeah, I'm okay. I have a cozy home with like a good furnace. So I'm grateful for that.
Good. Well, I am grateful for you. It has been so nice. We never got to talk extended like this. Yeah. And I love you even more now. And let's plug your tell everybody your website, everything. Guys, she's the shit. Sign up.
My website's Christi-an.com, CHRISTI-AN.com. It's really been so nice to get to talk to you. And I know that we like connected through the Calm app, but we also got to do classes together, which I loved. And
yes,
I feel so lucky to just get to know you and get to know your story a little bit more. And it's really inspiring. And it's cool to see you like start this next adventure in your life. And I think it's a very important message to people, right? Like we can always do something, right? Like our lives are not over until they're over. But it's like did you say you're 40 now?
I just turned, I'm 40 in October.
40, yeah. So like, you could have 40 more years or 50 more years or 60 more years. Like, it's so wild. Like you have a whole other lifetime potentially, right? And it's sad because so many people are like, well, too old to do that next thing.
You're never too old. Like you said, I look at that like, cool. I have at the minimum, hopefully 40 good years. And that's where I've learned think about your first 40 years. Some of it's spent as a baby and then a kid and you're under people's control and you're learning stuff. Now it's easy street. I know who I am. I know what I want. I can go for it. Like I'm not having any more kids. Like my life is set.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's brave to do something different. So I'm just like cheering for you and excited for you. And
thank you. Yeah. And once this starts making money, I can come start working with you again. I have to use the money to edit these that I spent on you. So.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you don't really need me so much anymore. You still have me on the
I always need you.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. But it's always nice to see you and thank you. And give your family all my love.
Yeah.
And thank you for being you, and thank you for what you contribute to the world.
Yeah, likewise, Sarah. Take good care of yourself, okay?
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. All right, guys. That was Christi-an. Is she not the sweetest person? I love her. I hope you guys all learned a little bit today about being kinder to yourself and listening to yourself, and especially as a mom, prioritizing your time. I also hope that you will follow me on Instagram at Ma'am Podcast. Follow me on YouTube at Ma'am Podcast. I'm sorry, guys. I'm thinking about being a mom at Ma'am Podcast. And listen and subscribe on Apple. And don't forget, kids, make today your bitch.